In this video, I'm going to tell you what love languages are. I'm going to give you practical examples of them. And at the end of it, I'm going to show you how you're able to use these and implement these to create deeper and more meaningful connections within your relationships in your life. So without further ado, let's get started. Love language number one. Love language number one is words of affirmation. And this one might be pretty straightforward. This is really anything that's like positive or supportive that your significant other or even any friends you have, grant you. Maybe you do something great and they have words of positive encouragement, like you're so great at this. I love you when you do that. You're so intelligent. Anything that's really positive, so supportive. When you feel this, you feel super energized when someone gives you a compliment. That's how you know that words of affirmation would be your love language. Moving along, the second one we got is acts of service. Another one that seems pretty straightforward. And this is really anytime that you're doing helpful things for your partner. Now, this could be anything from refilling their drink. You could make them breakfast in bed. You could run errands for them. Really, this kind of sounds like any way that you kind of make their life a little bit easier. This is one of my love languages. And it communicates that you're going out of your way to make their life easier. And it communicates love, and that's kind of what acts of service is. Moving along, speaking of giving people stuff, the third love language is receiving gifts or gift giving. This is really anytime your partner or somebody close to you gives you a gift that tells you that they were thinking of you. This could be as little as a card, like maybe you're sick, maybe you just broke your leg and they give you a card. Like that could be how small gift giving is, and that means the world to them. Other examples we got here is like maybe if they love giraffes and you just find this out and you get them a giraffe. Other possible examples is you notice like that their shampoo is running low, so you go out and buy them a new one and replace it. And quite frankly, that's a 2-for-1 because in that one you are getting acts of service and gifts both in one. I'll give you a couple other nice little tidbit examples that have multiple, but I think that's a good fun one to start off with there. Another example, they're like a yoga teacher and you go out and get them a yoga mat. You notice that it's like theirs is getting ruined and you just give them a gift. You say, hey, I was thinking about you. Here's this yoga mat because I know you love yoga and I saw yours was getting ruined, and you get the gist of it, I think. The fourth love language is quality time. Now, this is essentially spending any time that is meaningful with your partner. Personally, this is not in my love language repertoire, so I am not the best person to come to on advice on quality time. However, I do know that quality time is whenever you're spending that meaningful time with another person. And this can vary from person to person in my experience. It can be something like going on a picnic, maybe going to like a movie, going to a sporting event. I believe that this is something that's probably more useful to ask the other person if they have quality time as their thing. Ask them what they contribute as quality time. I think this could be anything from just going on a hike with the person and it's just you two. I think those are some great examples of quality time. Number 5, one of my other love languages, physical touch. This is really just the act of being close to or being cared for, caressed by your partner. This could be anything from a hug to random kisses. They could be cuddling. They could enjoy holding your hand. Massages, which is a good one because that hits acts of service and physical touch. Random kissing, any of these little spontaneous acts of physical encounters displays to you acts of love. So let's take one step back here. Now that we've gone through all the 5 love languages, what's the point of them? These are essentially ways that you receive and give love to other people. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're not sure if your partner is caring about you or you feel like there's a disconnect, then likely it's that they're not communicating in your love language. Now, personally, you can have more than one of these love languages. You can have two. For me, physical touch and acts of service are like my tier one love languages. It's possible to have more than two. You can have three, four, five. Some people even claim five. And I personally know that I'm at a point in my life where I can accept and understand all five and appreciate them. Now, it's kind of like a spectrum. So although I can appreciate all five, the two that like send me up a ladder, or over an edge, is acts of service and physical touch. It's like those might be like my tens out of tens, and then the other ones might be like 6 out of 10. So it could be a therapeutic practice to sit down and write these out and with your significant other, and I think it can help you understand each other at a more fundamental level. Yeah, again, like I was saying, what if you experience all the love languages? I personally believe that it is difficult for them all to be like tens out of tens. One of them is going to have like a little bit more of a spike. Uh, and, so what I personally believe is that, as a personal belief, is that we all have at least one or two that are above the rest. So if they experience all of them, by all means dive into all of them. But I think it's more beneficial and useful that you kind of like top off like the acts of service, like, and get them super active service, and then you can kind of whittle down and get to the other love languages if that's how they claim. Another thing here is I know that there's tests online, and you're more than willing to go and take those tests. What I would what I would employ you to do, what I would encourage you to do is to sit down. I would say meditate on this. Think about times, with relation to the things that I just went through, the five that I just laid out for you. Ask yourself, which one of these kind of really stands out in my head? When did I really feel the most love energized through my body and make me feel really truly connected to this person? Was it when they were holding my hand? Did they give me a compliment? Did they grab a cup for me out of the cabinet? Did they give me a gift? These are all super powerful. And quite frankly, I think that this is how you figure out what your love language is. Again, I know there's tests online. You're welcome to take them. I think that those are super valuable resources, and you'll find the same answer there. But I personally believe that you want to try to figure it out for yourself. Like, feel into your body. Feel how that energy feels flowing through you, because then you're going to be able to notice it a little bit more and communicate this with your significant other. Which, with that being said, I also think that you can take this over into friendships, and you can take it over into family. Now, some of these things aren't going to transfer one-to-one, Certain things you're going to do to your significant other, you're not going to do from your family or friends. So, you can still use these tools or these love languages to understand the people around you. And if you don't want to directly communicate and be like, hey, what's your love language? You can try the different things. Like, okay, I'm going to take them on a bike ride. Okay, how much love did they receive from that? Of course, I encourage communication. Direct communication is always the best communication. But if you're not feeling it and you want to just kind of play your own little, experiment, let's say, then by all means, feel free to go and, try these little things on your own. Try giving them a gift, do the acts of service, all that fun stuff. Important note, sometimes, and I think this is majority of the time, we will receive love. Let me back this up here. If we are unconscious of love languages, and I've noticed this in myself, is that we will receive love, and give love in different ways. It's a tendency that we have where our love language that we display and show is different than the one that we receive. Now, is this a big deal? Don't think so. I think it's the most conscious, and the first thing you should establish is how you receive it. Then you should understand how your significant other, family member, whatever, how they receive it. Because this is really the most important thing is I believe that it's okay for you to adapt how you give it to someone else. But how you receive it is something that's a lot more personal and intimate with your own self and your own structure. Now, this brings up another key point. If you're in a relationship with a significant other and you are unwilling to change the love that you give them to show them, I think that's an indicator that you need to evaluate that relationship a little bit. I'm not going to go down any rabbit holes and say what you should or shouldn't do, because I believe that's a personal decision. But I think that's something you should evaluate. I think that if you're with the right person, it should be easy, maybe not easy, but you should be willing to put in the effort to communicate to them in their love language, to give in their love language. I think that's a super important point to make regarding to all this. And with that being said, that's kind of everything that there is to know about love languages. Give me a comment down below with what your love language is. Try to evaluate yourself. See what you give and you receive. See if they're different. I think that's honestly a pretty interesting thing to check out. So leave a comment below telling me what you give and what you receive. I would love to hear that. If you're more fascinated, if I missed anything, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'll leave a comment. If I see repetitive questions, then I'll be happy to reach out to people about those as well. Other than that, I mean, those are the 5 love languages, and I hope that your relationships are better for knowing them. So with that being said, let's grow together.